Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at a new concept of polymorphism. So today we're going to be looking at functional polymorphism and basically like what it is, a few examples, and then an area examples that I've made. So here we go.
Okay, so over here you can see another program. So today we're going to be talking about functional polymorphism. So functional polymorphism is basically there are basically two different kind of polymorphisms. One is functional and one is class. So today we're going to be looking at functional. So polymorphism is basically like a concept that refers to the ability of like anything, a variable, a function, or an object, to take on multiple forms. An example is like, for example, print or type. So that's because print has, for example, in print you can enter any kind of data type you want to be displayed. For example, strings, integers, lists, tuples, whatever you want, dictionaries, and so on. You can enter more than one, so it's not like stuck simply like you can only enter a string or you can only enter a list or something like that. So because you can enter more than one data type, so then this concept applies. And the same goes for type. You can enter like list, dictionary, string, integer, and so on. So functional polymorphism is essentially any function that accepts more than one kind of data type. So here I have made like one with area. So here, for example, I have a class called rectangle, then a class called circle, and a class called triangle. So we're only using these three shapes today, not more than that. Then here I'm defining the function area and giving it the parameter shape. So whichever shape, rectangle, circle, or triangle. Then here I'm using the isInstance function to check if the requested shape is a circle. If it's not, then I'm checking if it's a rectangle. If it's not, then I'm checking if it's a triangle. And if it's not that either, then like I just don't know the shape. Then here I'm basically creating objects, but we'll get to that in a second. So here I have class rectangle. So basically I'm defining the length and the width. Then because like to get the area is basically like the length times of it. Then here I have circle. So here I'm basically defining the radius, so self.radius, because the formula for a circle is basically pi times r square. And after that we have a class called triangle. So here in that we have the height and the base, which is because the formula is basically half times height times the base. Then here I'm defining like the function area and giving it a parameter shape. Then I'm using the isInstance function again to check if the requested shape is a circle. So assuming it is, then circle is equal to shape, and then area of shape is basically the circle.radius times circle.radius times 22/7, which is pi. Then here, after that, otherwise if it's a rectangle, then I'm checking rectangle is equal to shape, and then printing the area of rectangle is rectangle.length times rectangle.width. And again, I'm using the function to check if the requested shape is a triangle. So then for that, I have the base times the height by 2. And if the shape is not valid one for this program, then I just don't know the shape. Here I'm creating objects for each shape and putting in the arguments. So here the object is called circle, and then circle and the radius is 100. Then rectangle, the length is 978 and the width is 11. And the triangle is basically the height is 98 and the base is 84. So I've just put in like random numbers, as you might have guessed. So you can put in anything you want. Then here I'm calling the area function with all the data, so the result will be printed. So if I run this, then here I have the area of a triangle, 4116. So that's if the triangle has height 98 and base 84. Then the area of the circle, which is basically mostly dependent on the radius. And then the area of the rectangle. So basically like the multiplication of these two. So essentially it's basically one function I'm using, which is area, and that's the one that's giving me like the area of a triangle, a rectangle, and a circle, whichever one I want.